I do hope and pray you are doing good. In the last video, I spoke about how to write a compact paragraph because it is essential that there is a logical symmetry between the sentences whenever we are writing. And if the sentences are broken, they are not linked with each other, then our writing is not going to be inspiring in the eyes of examiner or the reader. As a result, we may be losing or not getting good grades. Many of the students, they have asked me how they can use evidence from the text in order to support their point of view, in order to back up their ideas. So in this short video, I am going to help and support you again how you can use example from the text to back up your point. The first important thing which we need to realize and understand is whenever you introduce an idea or make a point in your writing about any text, you are required to use short pieces of evidences to back up that point. Because if your point of view is not backed up by the example, then your claims, your ideas, your points, they are empty and they are not having any value or they are valueless in the eyes of examiner. So it is very important, very important that you always use evidences to back up your point of view. Why do I need to use a short quotes? I always emphasize and tell my students that always use short quotes, not longer one. But you may ask the reason why should we use short quotes, and the answer is quite simple. Short quotes are easy to be embedded in your writing. If you use the long quotes, then you will have to use them as a separate statement. And if you use them as a separate statement, then in the eyes of examiner, they are not going to make, or in the eyes of reader, they are not going to make any good impression. So always use short quotes because they are easily embedded or can be embedded in your writing. And if you embed short quotes in your writing, it will impress the examiner. Here I would like to give you an example. If you recall the poem Layer, which we discussed yesterday, written by William Davies, you can download it, you can just read the books you carry. It says, "Was this life full of care? We have no time to stand and stare." I have tried to use short quotes from the text in order to back up the point of view I am trying to make. The poet refers to life as full of care, suggesting that he is extremely critical of the way people are living in present time. Because a modern man, from morning till evening and from evening till morning, he is busy. He does not spare time for himself, for his emotional, spiritual well-being, and as a result, he is very less resilient to the external influences. And that's why the poet is suggesting us that was this life full of care. I have used a small phrase, full of care, possessive phrase, and I have been to illustrate that example within the same sentence. So always use short quotes because they are easy to be embedded. Another excellent way to give an example is using paraphrased example. Whenever the word paraphrasing comes into your mind, remember that you are to present somebody's idea in your own words. You don't use the actual words of the writer or the poet. Remember, you don't use actual words of the writer or the poet, but you describe of one's poet's technique or one of text features in your own words. And how we do that? Look at this example. Again, I am just referring back to you the first two lines of the poem. Layer, was this life full of care? We have no time to stand and stare. If you look at this one, I have tried to use, I have tried to paraphrase example. I have tried to use paraphrased example within my writing. And it says the writer begins the poem with a rhetorical question. Was this life Was this life? This is a rhetorical question. And instead of using the poet says, was this life full of care? I am saying the writer begins the poem with a rhetorical question. This is a paraphrased example because I am describing one of the textual features, one of the devices the poet has used that emphasizes his feeling of this player. And here I would like to give you some more example because in the very beginning I have uh, told you that if you use mix of evidences or mix of examples, it is going to make much more better impression than anything else. Here I have tried to use 3 examples within this small passage. I say the poet uses various linguistic devices to demonstrate how a person is living his or her life. He starts the poem with the rhetorical question, was this life full of care? Which is followed by a comparison between human and animal, where he compares our lifestyle with cows and sheep and their connection with the nature. He then uses a personification to illustrate the captivating power of beauty to draw our attention towards her soothness and charm. So, in this passage, short passage, I have given 3 examples. The first one is a rhetorical question. The second technique he was using was a comparison, and third was a personification. So when you use a mix of evidences or mix of example, it makes a better impression. And finally, remember, always use a mix of example to back up your text. Use short quotes because they are easy to embed in your writing. Use paraphrased details by describing one of the writer's techniques. And I intentionally have used here again, use mix of evidences because they are going to create a better impression in the eyes of examiner. So do remember me in your prayers for more videos, for more learning. Please subscribe my channel, Ali Akbar Alvi, and I will be coming up with more videos to help and support you to make a better writer. Thank you very much.